It's Friday, March 14th, and we're tracking Tropical Storm Jude in the Mozambique Channel today. You can see the system spinning here in the central Mozambique Channel, and the system is going to be quickly moving towards southwestern Madagascar later today, and we'll be seeing landfall sometime tonight or early Saturday local time. And we can expect strong winds that may approach cyclone force in some areas in southern and southwestern Madagascar, and also heavy rainfall, not only in southern Madagascar, but also in west central parts, as we have some of this thunderstorm activity butting up against mountainous terrain there. And that can lead to some increased flooding issues in west central Madagascar. Now, as for the storm itself, it's trying to redevelop its structure. It has been trying to do so over the past day since it came off the coast of Mozambique sometime yesterday. We can see on the shortwave uh, infrared imagery that we have very rapid clockwise spin outside of the convection on the south side, and this may hint that part of the center of circulation is a little bit exposed still, perhaps as a result of some moderate wind shear we're seeing being impinged upon the storm right now. This is a sounding from the GFS. You can see these shear values, generally 15 to 20 knots. That's moderate wind shear. Now, it is going to cause the system to have struggles. It's going to be putting pressure onto it, but this may not be fully inhibitive. And the system may still be able to wrap this convection around in time to build a more structured eye and eye wall structure. And if it can do that, it may have the opportunity to intensify perhaps closer to cyclone intensity by the time the system comes into Madagascar, again, sometime tonight or early Saturday. This is a 200 millibar or upper level wind plot from the HAPS model. This is a cyclone specialized model showing you the system as it's nearing landfall in southwestern Madagascar tonight. And you can see there's a few features surrounding this system immediately. We have a high pressure system off towards the northeast. This has been primarily giving the system a favorable environment to redevelop over the past day. You can see this very nice anticyclonic or counterclockwise spin on the eastern side of that high pressure system. That's promoting divergence right now towards the equator. Now, down south, we have a little bit of a trough. You can kind of see this curvature in the streamlines here coming out of southern Africa. There's a little shortwave trough that's happening to track near our system as it's coming into southwestern Madagascar. And you can see in advance of that, we have this zone of increased winds. This is a jet streak, as we call it, because that is where you have a streak, if you will, of stronger winds in the atmosphere. And oftentimes what we can see with these storms is these can tend to tap into these. And what happens in these interactions, it's fascinating to watch, is that it increases divergence greatly for these tropical cyclones. And if they are structured well enough, they can, in a way, use that to their advantage and intensify fairly quickly, even in cases where you wouldn't expect it. To show you this, if we look at a sounding from the GFS as the system is now approaching Madagascar, you can see wind shear values by this point are getting pretty high. And this is now getting to detrimental type shears for any tropical cyclone. Yet this is still by this time in the model intensifying a little bit on this forecast, likely because we have such a strong jet interaction taking place south of it. It's kind of, I guess, negating some of the impact of the shear is the way to describe it with this jet streak. And it's a fascinating interaction to watch. Now, for Madagascar particularly, the question really is, can the system wrap around this convection to cover the center of circulation fully, and can it get a well-formed eye and eye wall structure? If it can do that, we may see the upper end of forecast intensities come in here, and that may be getting to a cyclone. You can see the HAFS model has this becoming a cyclone just before making landfall in southwestern Madagascar sometime tonight or early Saturday. Whereas the GFS, I don't have it pulled up, but the GFS has more of a severe tropical storm on the forecast, as it may not be seeing the system getting as developed as, say, the HAFS model does. And really, it's hard to tell exactly which one's going to be right here. This is a very fragile type setup. It could go either way. But regardless, in southwestern Madagascar, the preparation should be cyclone, as we could, even with a severe tropical storm, be looking at cyclone force gusts. And we'll also be looking, regardless, at very heavy rainfall that could come over an area that's been very drenched over the past several weeks. really has been seeing a lot of activity tropical cyclone wise this cyclone season. And we just had Cyclone Hyundai a couple of weeks ago stall south of the island, and that dumped a ton of heavy rainfall across this region. So it really won't take much to cause additional flooding issues in southern Madagascar. You can see on this forecast from the HAFS model, we do have some pockets of heavier rainfall. Anything in the purple here is 100 to 150 millimeters of rainfall. And you even see this on the west central coast. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have these trails of thunderstorm activity butting up against the western mountains in Madagascar, and that could lead to increased rainfall and flooding issues along west central Madagascar. Now, you do see that this heaviest rainfall here, getting into more maroons and yellows, those are staying south on this forecast of the island. And this is the hope because we do have, regardless, the increasing shear vector with the system. And eventually, this will begin to have a significant impact on a storm. And you can see in this frame here, in fact, I'll go to the HAFS one so you can see it in better view. This is showing you the mid-level moisture, and you can see all the green here. This is where the thunderstorms are with our cyclone. And by the time the system is making landfall, it's now all on the southeastern side because of that wind shear. This is pushing all of that heavy rainfall down south of our storm. And the hope is that we can keep most of the heavy rainfall south of the island, like the HASS model is showing you here on this forecast. Though it won't take much for the system to nudge a little bit north, and then that nudge could be enough to put these heaviest rainfall totals right over southern Madagascar. And that could easily lead to flooding issues. But even then, 100 millimeters or 150 millimeters of rainfall, that could still also lead to flooding issues, especially because some of these totals may come in very fast rates, as they usually do with tropical cyclones like this. And with the heavy rainfall we had in past couple of weeks with Hyundai and other rainfall events, that could easily lead to further flooding issues here in southern Madagascar. So the key message today really is prepare for a cyclone and be ready to listen to Meteo Madagascar for any alerts they issue for flooding issues as the system comes through. This is the current forecast from Meteo France. You can see showing that intensification. They're on the lower end of solutions right now, still showing a severe tropical storm, though we could still certainly get gusts to cyclone force in some areas, but then rapid weakening as the system progresses over southern Madagascar is a combination of very strong wind shear and land interaction. And you can see the good news is compared to Hyundai a couple of weeks ago, the system will not be sitting around. It will be progressing pretty quickly off towards the east. And by Sunday, really late Saturday into Sunday, the system will be pushing offshore of southeastern Madagascar. So we're not looking at any stalling scenarios here, which is certainly appreciated here in an area that's been hit pretty hard this cyclone season. That's all that I've got for today on Cyclone Jude. This will probably be my last video on the storm that's going to be making landfall sometime tonight or Saturday. Stay safe in Madagascar as our system comes through. And the good news is here for areas of Mozambique and Madagascar is that the next week in the tropics in the southwest Indian Ocean looking very quiet. We may have to pay attention in the Australian region going towards late March, but at least for the next 7 days in the Indian Ocean, things look quiet, which is certainly appreciated after a very active peak season we've had in the southwest Indian Ocean. That's all I've got for today. Again, stay safe in Madagascar as the system comes through. I'll leave a link to Meteo France's website for the cyclone advisories that they issue for this, and also Meteo Madagascar, so you can get the latest alerts that they issue, which are more localized and more tuned to people living in Madagascar than I can get and than Meteo France Reunion can get as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.